like to welcome each and every individual to today's session, and it's going to be it's an informal session, and so we've had individuals in the Chicago chapter ask if I would be willing to teach and coach and mentor you today on how to connect with anybody at any time, in any way, any level, in a very deep and personal way. And so that's what we're going to be doing. It's an informal time, so we'll be chatting and going through a number of different things. And so I started to, write out in my journal kind of a model on how to be able to go through and do this. And so that's what we're going to get started with. I think, though, to get the infrastructure here, I think probably it's important to understand kind of the heart. Like, the heart is the most important thing in connecting with any person on the planet at any time in any way. And so, if you've seen me speak, or if you know me at all, you know my background. My dad's a pastor, raised very strong in that area. I don't talk a lot about that or the spiritual. I have no problem talking about it, but I don't bring that in. But I do to this one. And maybe, I guess, probably before I dive into that, maybe Peter could go ahead and share like the experience that you had with Dee, and then just your experience with me, and why you and Teresa said, and then after you, we'll have Teresa share about your motivation for wanting to understand the technique or the process to be able to do that.
Okay, so Dee was at the last event with us, and you sat down at her table, and she's one of my distributors, so you talked to her. But you basically connected at a very high level, very heart level, very quickly, and it was fun to watch. And I mean, I know you well, but you made it happen, which was interesting. Now, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. And that connection was so strong and powerful, you got her to commit that she was going to come back and do all this stuff, which, I would have never guessed she would do that. So it was interesting to observe. So later on I said, okay, Mark, how did you do that? And you just laughed like you always do and said, it's my magic or whatever, it's the voodoo. So I said, okay, well then we need to learn how to do that, because you said you can create that on demand with anybody. I just thought it was a natural connection, and you said, no, I made it, I made it happen, whatever this you're going to teach us about. So that was interesting, and I thought for our group, if we could learn how to do that, we would have stronger connections in the mastermind group, because they're not all happening like that, and I'd like to know how to make that occur.
Wow, that's really cool. Teresa?
Well, kind of spinning off of that, we had a conversation. As I've gotten to know Mark, he has shared his strategies of connecting with people, and the other day I said it was really interesting, because I'm like, the first time that we met, you did the same strategy on me. And I'm like, that sat with me a little funny at first, because I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess, like you said, I'm not like the special one, or there wasn't that connection. There was a strategy to that. And at first I felt really weird about it. But then, getting to know, we've had an interesting history in our relationship. But, I've learned that, like, he still there's so much passion to help people in his life. And that connection that we made helped me on a personal level, getting things done and building my business. And so that skill of connecting with people really helps just with anybody to be able to accomplish our goals and our visions. And I don't know. It's an interesting experience, but definitely it can be learned. And I'm trying to learn it myself, and it's helped me in business and connecting with others.
So that's awesome. Thank you both. That triggered a whole bunch of other things. And so the session today was structured in a way to handle the bandwidth that's flowing, because there's a lot of bandwidth going on.